send mine hablos to the crib that is episode 44 of the Train Sim News Show. Even though it says TS News episode 43 in my veg file, but shh, I need to rename it before I get confused. How's everyone doing? I had a lovely birthday last week. Hopefully I'm going to see if I can get this episode uploaded before Sunday, but I make no promises because I'm a slow human being. Well, no, I'm not slow, I'm lazy. Anyway, we're going to do the same thing for this episode that we did for the Class 156 last year. Yes, last year, it's already been that long. That is to say, the entire episode will be dedicated to reviewing the recently released Armstrong Powerhouse and Guter Bahnhof Class 317 Pack Volume 1. And then the last half of the video will be dedicated to something special. Anyway, let's stop dawdling so we can get to the review. Okay, so the Class 317 as a train in general. I think it's alright. It's not my favourite train, it's not my least favourite train. It's a train that I sort of like-ish. I've been on them the odd few times in the past, but I don't really like going into northeast London. It's very, let's say unpleasant. Let's use that word. I will say that my favourite version of the Class 317 were those units that were refurbished for the Stansted Express services. Those seats in first class, best first class seats ever. Can't get enough of them. The 317 definitely has a gap to fill in Train Simulator, albeit not a humongous gap. Mainly for scenarios taking place back in the day, you know, 2000s, early 2010s, sort of that time period. Granted, I could probably think of trains that could fill a bigger role in Train Sim, but no matter, I'm not complaining. Let's see what it's like in game. Let's get the easy thing out of the way first. The modelling and the texturing scene here is, in my opinion, some of the best I've seen in Train Simulator to date. I'm serious about that. And it's not like it's a case where the previous stuff from the Armstrong Powerhouse was poorly modelled or anything. Hell no! But it just feels nice for me to be able to look at a model and just be genuinely impressed. I will be honest and say there are a few hiccups here or there, like for example, the innermost coaches don't have the grates towards the centre of the train. That's a minor thing, to be quite honest. Doesn't seem to be a hard fix. But yeah, I really love the modelling and texturing here, especially when it comes to like the passenger windows where you can see the dried up raindrops, and on the front windows where you can see the markings from the wipers. That's quite impressive. I can't deny that. It simply looks excellent. Since the 317 has been around since the 1980s, you get a whole bunch of liveries included, from BR Blue to London Overground. You get pretty much every single livery. Since this pack is focusing on the Dash 1 subclass, these two liveries don't count for the purposes of discussion. You also get different passenger views as well for the different liveries, and when you change the destination, it will show up on the passenger information screen, which the 319 didn't do. That's, again, very nice. And look at that, ladies and gentlemen, fake advertisements that actually look legit. Thank you very much. I actually tried Googling one of these sites out of curiosity, and it just gave me this, so I don't know if it's just a random website or something. But yeah, thank you for no stupid self-promotion and stuff like that. In terms of features, the 317 doesn't really, how can you say, bring that much to the table as a train. So most of the features are basically the same as the 319, so CSR, GSMR, scrolling through the destinations, though it is a lot easier this time because you don't have to turn the silly crank handle thing on the old versions. Now you can just hold F7 or F8 to scroll through them. Much better. I did notice, however, that the DSD wasn't functional, which, okay, in fairness for me, it doesn't really make much of a difference because I never touch the DSD, because 95% of the time I'm playing the game I'm just testing out something. But it's something worth mentioning nonetheless. Now, in terms of sounds, oh dear. Well, I deliberately kept my opinion close to my chest, especially when I looked over my shoulder and saw effectively damage equal to an F4 tornado in the comment sections of the Armstrong Powerhouse's Facebook page when they first showcased what it sounded like. The sort of blown out of proportion, mass hysteria, non-traversy, etc, whatever words you want to use here, heavily inspired me to make that little video sort of mocking them. This made it hard for people to work out what side I was on, and I only gave like the faintest amount of a clue. Because effectively I found this very similar to a TF2 stalemate, you know, you're all losers, nobody's won here. But now it's obviously out, what do I think of the sounds? Basically, I think it's fine. Look, the 319 and 317 share the same basic motors, right? The main difference is mainly how it sends the power. Now, if there's a, I don't know, situation going on which prevents the Armstrong Powerhouse to actively go out and record a 317, then wouldn't the next best thing to do be use sounds that they've already recorded for the 319? Because the only other option I can think of that is safe and guaranteed to, keep them out of any issues, especially avoiding any conflicts of interest with others who are so full of themselves they can do nothing but spite them, then sure, you use the 319 sounds, go ahead. There's also a second reason I'm perfectly fine with them reusing the sounds here. They're good recordings, are they not? Or have I missed some sort of memo that the motor sounds are all of a sudden bad now? I do think that, let's say, the small little bit at the start does sound a bit off, but considering 34 samples were used to create the 319 sounds in Train Simulator, 33 out of 34 sounding good is not what I'd call a failure. Though it is to some people. All the other sounds to me are perfectly fine. Transformer sounds good, Run sounds good, the flange squeal is amazing, I will never get tired of listening to that flange squeal, I love it so much. Horn's good, brake sounds really nice. I've fallen in love with just how nice the compressor is to listen to. The cab sounds are also real good as well, so yeah, it's mainly just the motors that have been reused, and if I was in AP's predicament, I'd reuse them as well. Again, going out isn't exactly ethically viable at the moment, though again, some people don't seem to understand that. Another thing that's been concerning me regarding the 317 is the sort of to and fro people have been having with their opinions about it. During the development, you would have seen comments from people saying that it's looking really good and such, but as soon as we start to hear what the sound's like, it's now really bad. I've even seen people comment saying that the modelling of the 317 looks really off. Which to that I just completely disagree with. If you have a problem with the modelling, for whatever reason, fine, but please don't be so vague about this, otherwise I'm just gonna donate your opinion to the recycling centre. Because that's how much value it would hold for me. Watch this.
This drawing of a circle looks bad.
Why?
Well, it's off.
Okay, what's wrong with it?
It just looks off.
Thank you for your cooperation. See what I mean? How could anybody work with that? At least I do my best to be as direct as possible. I always thought that I had high standards, which is, sort of amplified with my very stern but fair mentality, but no, clearly not, especially when I've seen people in the past complain about pixels. But hey, I guess this is the direction of the Train Sim fanbase nowadays. Well, in conclusion, I quite like using the 317, I think it's pretty good. Sure, the motors aren't one-to-one, but again, I'll live. It's nowhere near as bad as other trains the Armstrong Powerhouse have done, such as the 313, 314, 315, the 142, the 455, or even the Voyager sound pack. To be honest, I think the decision to split up the 317 into two volumes like the 319 slightly annoys me more than, the sounds, well, specifically the motors being a bit iffy. Are there differences between the two subclasses? Yeah. Could I honestly, put my hand on my heart, say that they definitely should be split up? No, not really. It's not even a case that I prefer the other subclass. No, actually, I prefer how the first subclass of the 317 looks like. It's just, who sits in the second ones on the Stansted Express ones? I need them. That's basically it. It's not £25 at the very least, it's only 20, which, still seems like a lot, but put it to you like this. The 156 is still £25. Oh, I should also say one last thing regarding the liveries. They always provide a sort of branding patch thing, which you can just download on their website for, the 317 in this case. However, it won't apply for London Overground. I don't really know any reason why. Let's come up with a backstory on the spot. Mr. Richard was playing a game of rock, paper, scissors with Sadiq Khan and he lost. You could probably work it out from there. But basically it means that you'll have to use a community patch to put the London Overground livery on. There's bound to be one by the time I upload this video. And if there is, I'll just link it in the description. You know how fast the community is in this day and age. But yeah, that's what I've got to say about the 317. I think the Armstrong Powerhouse and Guter Bahnhof have done a fantastic job in general. Could I recommend it? If you're a big fan of the 317 perhaps, it's not like an end-all be-all thing. I have at the very least asked my friend if he is willing to reskin it into Northern for Creston, and the next day after asking him about the plan, he showed me this. Thank you. I love you too, Alex. Now this is where the video would normally end, but as history would repeat itself, life just isn't fair. As I've alluded to earlier, the community's response to, like, the sounds of the 317 was arguably some of the worst I've seen in Train Simulator. I think the best theory is that so many people are getting used to the sounds that even small little things are just no longer acceptable nowadays, as I sort of said earlier. This was best shown to me by 2 videos by TheWestAnglian complaining about the 317, which we're gonna have a watch through today. It's not that I completely agree or I completely disagree with him, because yeah, the 317 sounds are off, but the way that you sort of expressed your opinion I think is, well, in some ways completely uncalled for. You'd think by how, I don't know, anal he is about this, that he has some sort of obsession with the 317 or something. A quite bland sounding train if we must be honest, but alright, if you say so, go ahead. I'm not gonna stop you. Yes, the fans who will quite literally lick the amoebas off Mr. Richard's shoes can be quite annoying, but as you're gonna see in this video, the other side isn't exactly in the black either. Anyway, let's not dawdle on, we got 2 videos to get through. But first, before we watch, we need to have ourselves acquainted with the obligatory transition.
Okay, so as someone who travels on 317s a lot, sees them every day, I was quite disappointed by this.
I'd like to get one thing out the way right now. I like this guy's voice. It's got really nice rhythm to it. Nice sort of, enunciation with words and the like. It sounds really good, almost like something I'd hear on a local radio station. Do you do like performing arts? You're missing your calling if you aren't.
It appears that the Armstrong Powerhouse have recycled the class 319 sounds. Now, yeah, 319s might have the same motors, but there are some very, very big differences in terms of how the motors react once you apply power.
Differences? Yeah, especially at low speed and when it's just departing. But big differences? Like you'd be able to tell 2 apart passing at 50 miles an hour? Pfft, good luck.
Especially because the 319 has its distinctive sound when taking power, and 317s are just 317s.
Best description of you.
So I thought I might as well compare 2 clips of a recording that I've taken of a 317 and the recording from the Armstrong Powerhouse's video. And they are 2 different videos indeed.
Okay, just so I can keep the momentum consistent, I'm going to get this skipped until he says something I can actually respond to. It's just a recording of his own versus the Armstrong Powerhouse video they uploaded onto Facebook. Nothing too special. King of Crimsonoff! Okay, there's some annotation here, so let me just pause and read it. No excuse for recycling sounds that sound similar.
You're not helping!
And besides, I already answered why they most likely reuse the sounds. And it's a perfectly damn good reason. Next time you ask, I'm gonna have to use my special clip. Okay, in the next bit of the annotation it says, you didn't recycle sounds when it came to the 37 Volume 2. Which is right, if you ignore the cap sounds and the run sounds and the joint sounds. They recorded an unrefurbished engine for the unrefurbished pack, and the refurbished engine for the refurbished pack. Awful, isn't it? Okay, after he played some more clips, there's another set of annotations. It says, you can probably tell the difference now. Pathetic excuse for recycle... Well, did I or did I not warn you?
Needlessly repeating conversations on the same topic is a waste of energy resources.
Armstrong Powerhouse needs a new... Yeah, of course they do. Literally hours ago, as I was using the Class 365, I said to myself, these sounds, they are junk, they need a new microphone, now? This is just unacceptable. And then I woke up. He then goes on to say that even freeware sound modders have mics that record the sounds as your ears would hear it, because it's all in the microphones. You know, screw editing, screw equalization, and normalization for that matter, screw sampling, screw re-recording, and most importantly, screw screw how it sounds in-game, it's just in the mic. Now let's carry on to see what else he has to say.
As you can hear, the sounds have been recycled from the Class 319 pack.
You said that already, I know.
If you've or seen the 319 trailer, you'll know exactly how it sounds. Not acceptable.
Needlessly repeating conversations on the same topic is a waste of energy resources.
Why do you recycle sounds if you're not going to keep the quality consistent?
Huh? Well, usually the inconsistencies I would complain about would be like missing liveries or missing features. But that's not the case with the 317, so...
Needlessly repeating conversations on the same topic is a waste of energy resources.
As I pointed out earlier, you didn't recycle sounds for the 37 Volume 2 pack, so why are you recycling sounds for a 317?
Needlessly repeating conversations on the same topic is a waste of energy resources.
Couldn't you have the balls to go and record a real 317?
Our loving and caring fan base, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't feel entirely confident to take your staff out on a recording trip due to the current events, then you're a poopy head. You haven't got balls. I've done your daughter, innit? You might as well say that to them, as far as I'm concerned.
I want answers. We all want answers.
Yeah, and how inclined do you think they're going to be to respond or give you any answers outside of ones we already know if you keep speaking to them in a manner equivalent to this?
You fat, bald bastard, you piece of subhuman trash! 2,000 years of constant human evolution to create a hairless fuck.
This is the exact reason why I'm not a perfectionist. I have never, nor will I ever ask for perfection.
Why do you think it's acceptable to recycle sounds from a product you've already released?
Needlessly repeating conversations on the same topic is a waste of energy resources.
And the 317 sounds slightly different to a 319.
Needlessly repeating conversations on the same topic is a waste of energy resources.
So please explain.
I already have! I'd rather motorboat Slappy Squirrel than watch the rest of this video whilst doing an impression of a VP-185 starting up!
And before you say, oh, if you don't like it, don't buy it, I do like 317s, and I will buy it.
Sir, I think I found a hole in our submarine. And by hole, I mean gaping void where the stern used to be. Okay, it's not that I'm endorsing the if you don't like it, don't buy it thing. It's that lots of people in this game are just incapable of saying no. And that's just Exhibit A right there. Look, I'm a die-hard fan of Pokemon, but when Pokemon Sword and Shield came out, and I saw the mess that was the competitive meta, the bleh story, and some of the worst animations I've ever seen from a mainline Pokemon game, or even any game in this generation, I said no. Unfortunately, there are people in this day and age who are just, what's it called, they rely so much on the gambler's fallacy. Like, okay, I didn't win the lottery on the 468th time, maybe 469 is my lucky number. Oh, alright. Or maybe 470 is my lucky number, and so on and so on and so on. Why do you think games and microtransactions are just so, well, prominent in this day and age, as an example?
And give a brutally honest review of it.
As opposed to a fake review. Oh, confound these fake reviews all over in Train Sim, you and your tricks! Then again, in the world of movies, fake reviews have actually been a quite bad thing, really.
And I will literally give as much criticism as I can, because criticism helps developers improve their products.
Yeah, I agree, but the way you're wording it here is almost like you want it to be bad. Bearing in mind that these videos were made before the official trailer was posted, it was only working on preview videos that were posted on the Armstrong Powerhouse's Facebook page. Now that is basically the end of the first video, though he does have one small little, almost post-credit scene thing to share.
I'd actually highly recommend going on a real 317 and actually seeing how different they sound to the Armstrong Powerhouse's quote-unquote recording, which is recycled.
Well, good for you. I already have, multiple times. Thank you very much. Well, that was the first video. I think literally a day later the second one came up. The title of this second video is called Do you even respect source material, Mr. Armstrong? Why is everybody copying my verbal tics? I have to begin claiming royalties. Whether it's better or worse than the first video is not really of my concern, but I can definitely tell he's not much happier, that's for sure. Anyway, let's jump right in. Oh wow, I haven't seen this meme used before, this is a great start. And stop. This does not sound correct. Well, what does not sound correct? You can't be so vague, man. And stop again. A 317 departing King's Cross would have cold Okay! Well, if you actually decided to, oh I don't know, be a bit patient and wait for the trailer and or manual to be posted, you would have known that wasn't the sound of the motors being cold. More so, that was the reversing whine of the traction motors. And yes, this is something the 317 does do in real life. For someone who's been around them for their whole life, I'm surprised you didn't know. Oops. I wish you could have seen my face reading that for the first time, because it looks sort of similar to this. Caps lock is cruise control for the cool, but even with cruise control you still need to steer. Now let's see what he has to say.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oi, watch your language, mate. This is a family-friendly YouTube channel. Do not put that on screen. I like my YouTube channel. I don't want to be sent to the ban realm for 1,004 years.
Like, come on. How can you say this sounds the same?
The same to what? Mate, I've been to the Carphone warehouse. You can't have a comparison of one. This Southwest Trains memory stick is equal to what? I don't know.
Oh my god.
I love how it flashes on the screen there saying he's losing the will to live. How do you think I feel recording this and editing at 9 PM? I could be feeding my cat. No wait, what am I talking about? I already fed him. Whoops.
What are you thinking? Like, seriously? Are you on drugs?
Slightly uncalled for, but since it's October, I'm gonna use this clip.
God damn it, Erasmus, stop taking drugs. Fuck you, soldier.
That does not sound like a 317 departing.
Yeah, it does. It's not perfect, but neither is the Class 319, and I'm fine with that. But you're not, aren't you? Now, he does another comparison like before, which, you know, yada yada, get it, King Crimson.
You can tell the difference between real life, which is the source material, and what you've quote-unquote engineered.
No way!
But for those people, Tom Loader, who think that they sound the
Wait, Tom Loader? Isn't that the guy who complained about the time of day someone was responding to their comment? Ugh, look, as far as I'm concerned, he's a troll. Don't waste your time on him. Trolls are like seagulls. If you keep feeding them, more will come.
I'm going to put both of them together, and you'll have one ear with whatever audio I've decided to put on that ear.
Now, to give credit where credit is due, this is a pretty good way of doing a comparison, splitting it to the left and right ear respectively. I like that. Just one problem. You're comparing your interior recordings, where the reversing whine isn't active, versus the exterior recording, where the reversing whine is active. And you're complaining at them for not respecting the source material. Do you even respect the source material, man? To me, this is the equivalent of saying, I want to find out how many trams pass through East Croydon in an hour, so I bought this ticket to Manchester. And I'm gonna sit outside Market Street, and then we're gonna just start the tally, I guess.
You get the point. It's not the same. So for those people who are being absolute cunts and saying they are the same, seriously, I have provided evidence.
To be honest, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody who thinks it sounds almost, no, not even almost, but completely, like, 100% accurate as it is in Train Sim.
Then, oh, for God's sake, you know, there's no winning over you people.
How do you think the Armstrong Powerhouse feel? If they go out to record, people will complain. If they don't go out to record, people will complain. If they reuse the sounds, people will complain. Every option they could take is wrong in the eyes of somebody. Here's my suggestion. Maybe you should write out a spreadsheet to tell them what sounds they are or aren't allowed to reuse. How about that? Sure, it seems a bit demanding, but at least it'll be clear. Some days I do feel a bit sorry for him.
Well, if you say it sounds the same to you, but people who actually go on 317s a lot know that they are not the same. So, instead of recycling sounds...
Oh, I am not going down this road again. Pod, take it away.
Needlessly repeating conversations on the same topic is a waste of energy resources.
Why don't you actually make an effort, like you did with the 37...
Needlessly repeating conversations on the same topic is a waste of energy resources.
and the sprinters, because if apparently the 150 and the 156 have the same engine, so why did you record a 150 engine and a 156 engine separately then?
Well, it's because the engines rev differently. In fairness, I didn't know this by the time I made the 156 episode last year, but I recently filmed one leaving Kids Grove. Friendly reminder that the 156 was recorded most likely in November 2017. As near as makes no difference, 2 years before the 156 was released.
It's cutting the corners. Like, I give up. I know Mr. Armstrong is not going to listen to my, well, it's turned into a rant now.
Well, at least you're self-aware on that.
I did say that it's not the same, and I'm sticking with this claim that it is not the same.
Yes, I agree, the sounds are not exactly the same. But the option to reuse the 319 sounds is honestly the most sensible route that they can take for the time being. Now he has one last thing to say, but it can easily be responded with our good old clip again.
Needlessly repeating conversations on the same topic is a waste of energy resources.
Thus concluding both those videos, and thank Deadall for that. Look, I don't mind you complaining about the sounds of a train simulator. That's what I do, it's all fair. Doing comparisons is also fine as well, and offering some constructive criticism is great, so developers can use that information to grow further. But be sensible and mature about it, goodness gracious me. If you're getting to the point where in comment sections you're responding that they should just trespass just to get the right sounds from a 317, oh goodness, maybe you should just take a break from the computer. Or train simulator, just have a think. Maybe I'm going too far. If you're getting so angry and upset with a train akin to the class 317, how are you gonna cope with a 323 or a 331 or even a class 373? Are you just gonna implode inside out or something? My favourite thing is that in his final review of the class 317, he ends up giving it a rating of 4 out of 5. And said that he would have given it 5 out of 5 if it was £15 as opposed to 20. That's some grade A bipolar crap going on. I mean, you reuse the sounds, which is unacceptable, you disrespect the source material, and it sounds nothing like a 317. That being said, 4 out of 5. Yeah, this whole blowing things out of proportion in train sim that I'm seeing more and more often is, in my opinion, getting a little bit old, and I hope that it ends sooner rather than later. I'm telling you, we're not that far away from developers being harassed and stalked in public because they got something slightly wrong. There's a really nice video talking about something similar to this that I watched recently. Emperor Lemon's Downward Spiral on video games. I'll link it down in the description because a lot of the things he talks about heavily apply into Train Simulator. If you're able to enjoy the 317 165%, that's great. If you're not able to fully enjoy it because, the sounds are a bit iffy, that's fine too. A middle ground does exist. It's not some sort of A or B regarding this. Please, I hope you can understand this. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Train Sim News Show. That's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I have more railway review videos planned in the future, including one that may or may not be related to this. But that's the future, this is now. Thank you all for watching, and I'll speak to you guys next time. Goodbye!